What's up, guys and gals? Iceman here. Welcome to Chilling Tales. So this one is a heinous black bear attack that took place in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, the very state that I'm from. And what this black bear did to this woman is unsettling, to say the least. So Claire was sort of a rebellious chick, born in Upper Michigan. She had, in her early 20s, sort of went a different direction from the girls of her generation. She didn't go to college. She worked at a bar. She served drinks. And she had this sort of long red hair. And she would start getting involved with the biker crowd back in those days. So she met this guy named Chris, who was this real tough guy, always armed to the teeth with guns and ammo, and would get into bar brawls and things like that. But nonetheless, they ended up dating in the mid-90s, and the two decided to embark on this little vacation at a cabin that was like secluded out in the woods. So they make their way out there. They're both on their motorcycles. They're going down some little dirt road, just Claire following Chris. And what they saw should have been a sign of what was to come. There, off the path, was this sort of dark figure, this husky bear just watching them go by. And it had this soulless, piercing look in its eyes that should have made them nervous, at the least. So they drive by and they see this bear just watching them. And then they make their way to the cabin, which was just a couple hundred yards beyond where they saw the bear. They get off their bikes and they sort of reminisce on that whole situation. Oh my God, did you see that bear? Yeah, Claire, it'll be fine, said Chris. I see those things all the time. They're harmless. So nonetheless, they make a little fire at night and they roasted marshmallows on it, right? And again, they see something. They hear a sort of crunching of the leaves, and the smoke dissipates, and they just see in the distance this creature staring at them. It's like it was stalking them. Then all of a sudden the smoke passes over it from the fire, and the creature was gone. Oh my God. Chris, what was that? It's just one of those bears, don't worry. It's just looking to scavenge after the fire. It doesn't mean any harm to us. So they go inside of the cabin and they continue on with their night. Now the cabin had this little outhouse that was about 50 feet from the cabin. This tiny little thing with a creaky wood door just on one single little notch is how you would lock it. And the two spent the night in the cabin. So Chris kind of has his way with Claire, right? Gets a little steamy in that cabin, just smacking the banging, the clatter. And after the episode, Chris just passes out. And Claire, of course, wants to go and take care of business before she goes to bed. And she doesn't want to do it in front of Chris. So she goes out of the cabin and begins walking toward that rustic old outhouse. And somewhere in that is where this attack occurred. Chris was awakened by the blood-curdling screams of his girlfriend. Oh my God! Just super high pitched. It almost sounded like a bunny stuck in a trap. The just a and she just, and then it stopped. So Chris got up and lunged toward the door. He grabbed his gun. He had a sort of 1911 style 9mm like this one, a SIG of some sort. And he rushed to the door. He grabbed his pistol and he burst through the door. And there in front of him, he cocks the gun. He pulls the little hammer back and just gets ready. And he's like, "Clear! Clear, what the hell happened? Where the hell are you?" And he sees that figure that he saw earlier. Just a sort of heaping, black, dark figure standing atop the carcass of his girlfriend. He could see Claire's long red hair just sprawled out all over the dirt. And then he saw her white figure, her sort of olive skin, and the moonlight just bouncing off of it. And he could see just these black scathed marks in it, like it was the blood. The bear raked its claws down her back as she cowered on the ground trying to cover herself. And because of the moonlight shining down, the red blood looked black. All right. So what Chris is seeing is his mangled girlfriend. And she was barely even clothed, just there on the ground, face down, with the red hair just all over the dirt, scratches just going up and down her back. And her legs were just kicking. Like her nerves were acting up. She was still alive. And he yelled at it. He said, "Bear! Get off her, bear! Get off her, bear!" And the bear turns and looks at him. And then it turns back down and grabs Claire by her thigh and picks her leg up like this and begins dragging her away from the porta potty into the dark of the woods. Now Chris was terrified as shoot. He saw the bear. He was like, "No!" And it was just dragging her away, right? So he didn't want to just shoot. I mean, he could hit his girlfriend. So he decocked his gun and he went running toward. He was like, "Give me my woman back!" And he went running after the bear. And then when he saw, "I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy," he caught up to him, and the bear was there in the woods, this 350-pound black bear brewing. You could see the muscle just protruding from its fur, just this hulking beast. And it was sitting upright like this, and it had its ass on the guy's girlfriend, right? And it was scraping its ass on her like this, sort of marking its territory. If you guys go on YouTube, you can see bears doing this. It's kind of like they skunk their prey or something. They're not really skunking it. But the little shit gland or whatever, they emit their bodily oils on the carcass, and it sort of checks it as their own. So it's a way of marking their territory, a mark of claiming their kill. And that's what this bear did to this feeble young woman. So Chris is there then. He pulls out, he's like, "Get the hell!" Oh, he's swearing up a storm. "Get the hell off her, you son of a bitch!" And the bear is just ignoring him, just sort of sitting up like this, scraping its ass against her. And her body's on the ground like this. So the bear's sitting atop her, and her head just, the bear's just scraping its ass on her, just trying to mark its territory. So Chris still didn't want to shoot the damn thing because it was just too close to her. So he ran up to it and started swinging. He was like, "Get off her!" Started swinging his gun. And then the bear took a big swipe at him. Just boom! And knocked him off his feet. But you know what? Right after that, it started pursuing Claire's carcass again. And Chris heard her at this time. He heard a moan come from the body. "Oh, help me, Chris." which I think invigorated the man. He caught his bearings. Oh, he was stunned and just a big gash across his face. And he went searching for his gun, went flying. And he sort of saw the light of the moon reflecting off of his gun, so he picked it up again. He cocked it. And he was like, "You son of a bitch!" He aimed it right at the bear and boom! 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 Just began filling the damn thing with lead. And this is when the bear was upright again, scratching its ass against her like this. And the bullets just went right into its chest. Just blood blasting out as the bullets made the impact with his chest. And the bear sort of caved in on top of the woman. It just collapsed on top of Claire. I just can't believe what happened. And of course, Chris hears her. It crushes her little body. And she goes, "Oh my God. You know, just the gestures this woman was making were just otherworldly. So that's when Chris set in. He ran up to her. "You son of a bitch!" And he pushed the bear off of her. And the bear sort of just sprawled out on the ground, just laying on the ground. Then he put his gun down. "You son of a bitch! Boom! 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 Boom!" But he filled it with lead. And then the blood just began to pool. What looked like just a pool of spilt oil from a car from the moonlight. It was just what an insane scene this was. And then he dropped his gun. "No! Claire!" He ran up and he picked her up. "Claire, oh my God!" He shook her and shook her and shook her. And he threw her over his shoulders. And he heaved her over to the bike. And he got on the motorcycle. And he started driving down that old rickety dirt road into the night. Her hair just blowing in the wind. The stench of blood and rotting flesh. Poor young woman was barely conscious. But they made their way to the main road. And a car saw them and stopped. And took them both in and rushed them to a hospital. Just some onlooker, somebody passing by. And her wounds were treated, and miraculously this girl survived. She had just gouges off from this bear. Big, massive gouge out of her leg. Had a couple surgeries. Tried to make up for the loss. Had to borrow a bunch of blood and everything else, but the girl survived. And so did Chris, and they had just quite a tale to tell, I would say. But that's how that one went. Yeah, I mean, got to be careful out there in bear country. You just never know what you're going to be running into. If you guys will like this video, subscribe to the page, comment below. Give me a good story, Iceman, in the comments if you think it was a good story. Just say good story in the comments and become a patron to support the Chilling Tales. And I'll see you all tomorrow.